All right. Hi, everyone. I'm here with Amanda Rootsey, who runs Shine From Within. It's giving girls the tools and confidence to shine bright. And we met a week ago, had a coffee, had a catch up, which was really inspiring for me. And now Amanda's agreed to have an interview, which will be used in my upcoming book, but we'll also be posting this on my blog and my Facebook page as well. So Amanda, as I said, we'll just start out with a little bit of history about you, your background, what brought you to where you are now, I guess, would be the question.
It's a good question. The main points would be, I did a business degree at uni, and while I was there I was modelling and I was working in deportment schools as well, so going around to schools teaching them posture and how to present themselves like ladies.
Yes, lovely.
And I was also working in hospitality, and I was always really pushing myself really hard. I was a good employee, you know, if someone called in sick, I'd be there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, hard worker.
Yeah. And then when I finished uni, I went overseas for a while and I modelled over in Europe, and while I was over there I found a lump on my neck. It was just sort of here, and I didn't think anything of it, but eventually I came back home and I saw a doctor, and it ended up being Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4, which is a cancer in the lymphatic system, and that really shook me. I was 24. Just didn't expect to be told something like that, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. So young as well.
Yeah. So it just totally changed my life in the best way possible. I learned so much about natural health and how important it is to make the most of every day and look after this precious body of ours. And it was 2 years of treating it naturally, as well as doing chemotherapy and radiation, and being rushed to emergency a few times, and you know it was really a full-on time. And once that all finished, my partner and I just needed to recover for a while, and he was amazing throughout that whole time, actually. And we ended up getting a shipping container cabin and putting it on a block of land that we found on Gumtree for $50 a week, and stayed there for a year, just growing our own veggies and being totally off the grid. And it was such a beautiful time to just recover, but also just to reconnect and remember what was really important in life for us.
That's really fantastic that you did that. I think, I know when I first moved to Australia, I was really interested in all these small homes and living off the grid, and I hadn't, it's very rare you meet someone that's actually done it.
It's very romantic. I have to admit, at the end of the year, we were ready for hot showers and being a little bit less removed, because we had to put the 4-wheel drive in low range just to get there, so we were busting tyres all the time, and it just, by the end, we were ready to finish up. But at the start, it was super romantic.
Yeah, lovely.
Everything you can imagine that it would be.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it sounds really interesting. It would have been a great way to connect back, like you said, to yourself and to nature and everything, I imagine.
Yeah. And then I started getting my energy back, and I felt like I wanted to be out in the world a bit more again. And I just kept having these ideas come to me about running programs for teens in a similar way to what I was teaching before for other schools, but bringing in a lot more about natural health and self-love and positive body image and nutrition and wellness and that kind of thing. So that's where the Shine From Within idea came from.
And how did you first get it going? Like, kind of, what were the first steps you took? So obviously you had the year and you probably had some ideas and wrote stuff down, and then how did you, I guess, what were the first kind of key steps to get it started?
Good question.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm throwing new questions at you.
I think it was probably another couple of years of idea gathering and doing extra trainings and stuff as well, which I'm always doing, to be honest. I think it's important to just always keep on learning. But then I just started writing the curriculum, I think. Putting the curriculum together, getting all those ideas down, And then just taking it one step at a time. Eventually I started connecting with community groups that work with youth already, so that I could start to find a bit of a market, I suppose, and did a bit of volunteer stuff around the place as well, and eventually ran my first workshop.
Oh, great.
And then the stuff like website and social media and connecting with an audience and all of that stuff came afterwards.
Right, and started growing from there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So do you want to, I know all the information's on your website, but do you want to just run through maybe briefly what the different programs you do? Because you do, I was actually, when we spoke, quite surprised by how many different things you offer, actually. It's a lot.
Yeah, okay, so with Shine From Within, we focus on tweens and teens. So the signature program is a 5-day school holiday program for 13 to 17-year-olds. We have a tweens program for 10 to 12-year-olds, which is 2 half days. But we also run school-based programs in primary schools and high schools. Sometimes they're runners after school programs. Sometimes the schools will get us in as part of their curriculum and as part of doing something for the whole grade. We run sisterhood evenings regularly, so once a fortnight we just bring a bunch of girls together just to chat. It's just an opportunity for them to talk about whatever they need to talk about and connect with other girls, so that they're getting out of their regular friendship circles and families and schools, so that they've just got that extra bit of support somewhere else, because there's been a lot of research around that and how that can really help to build their self-esteem if they've got those extra arms and that bit of support sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
We do one-on-one mentoring and coaching as well. And we do mother-daughter events too. So we've got some mother-daughter evenings coming up and a retreat happening in Noosa as well.
Oh, fantastic. How long's the that's exciting. How long's the retreat for?
That's going to be 3 nights.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've got do you want to talk about your new project that's up and coming?
Yeah, I think I can talk about it now.
I was going to say it's nearly out there. I suppose if you don't want to, please don't. It's fine.
No, I'd love to. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, cool. It sounds great.
It's this is the Shine From Within Youth Mentor Training Program. So it's for other women that want to work with teens. Because I just get so many people getting in touch with me saying they want to do something similar in their area, or the girls in their area really need some support, and they just don't really know where to start. So I think this sort of stuff, there can never be too much of it. I think the more programs out there, the better. So what I'll be teaching the women that do this online program will be getting in touch with their strengths and values, and so that they can create something that's unique to them and that's really true for them, because that's how they'll connect with the students as well.
Yeah.
As well as going through the duty of care sort of thing and the psychology of teens, so that they're really well equipped to know when they need to be referred on to a counsellor or a psychologist or something, so they feel really comfortable holding that space.
Oh, that's great.
And then even the business events marketing side of it as well, so that they can make sure they're reaching the girls that they want to reach.
Oh, fantastic. And when, so I know it's still slightly in development, but when can people expect to kind of hear about it, maybe start signing up for it?
Well, they can go to the website right now, actually, and register their interest. There's a little button at the top that says Shine Teacher Training.
Great.
So they can jump on the list now, so that they're the first ones to hear about it.
Okay. So that's www.amandarootsey.com.au.
No, it's at shinefromwithin.com.au.
Okay, great. Okay, make sure it's the right website we send people to. So just a few questions. I think obviously my book is about people who follow their dreams and who live on purpose and who are really doing good things in the world. And you're an amazing inspiration, I'm sure, to a lot of people.
Thank you.
So one of the questions that people often ask is, people that do this, who's supporting you? Who do you lean on? Do you have a mentor? What kind of support network do you have, and what would you recommend others have, I guess, if they want to kind of go on a similar journey? Who are the people that you feel are important to have around you?
Yeah. For me, I have a little mastermind group and we have calls once a week just for an hour on a Monday afternoon just to check in with each other and let each other know what we've got planned for the week and kind of keep each other accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're doing your own thing, you can feel quite isolated, which I imagine is why people so want to hear about the support networks that are in place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, it is. It seems to be a lot of people are kind of going it alone, and I think people struggle with that. Is okay, I want to go it alone, but how do I get the social interaction happening?
Yeah.
So how did you find the people that are in your mastermind group?
We were part of an online course together a few years ago, so we connected that way. So our businesses are kind of in similar stages.
Yeah.
They're not in the same industries at all, and I don't think that's really necessary, but it's just nice to talk to someone that's also has their own business and are launching programs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we'll get together once a month usually to do a big picture planning and once a quarter to plan the next 3 months.
Oh, great. Well, that's really well set up. Nice. Yeah, I've heard a lot of different people talk about mastermind groups, and it's I've always thought it's a good idea, but it's quite hard. I think one of the challenges I've found is keeping it going consistently and making sure you find the right people. So it's good that you've got a good group. It sounds like you've got a good group and a good process happening.
Yeah, it's quite a small group. So there's only 3 of us, so that works really well for us without having too many elements to disrupt it and cause people to be unavailable and that sort of thing. But I've read a lot that people tend to will outgrow their mastermind groups in time as well, and can always be sort of looking and searching for something else.
Yeah, no, it's good. Oh, that's great. And any other support structures?
I love coaching. I'm not with a coach at the moment, but I really believe in the power of coaching and having that extra support as well. So I'll quite often have a coach as well.
Yeah.
My partner Dave, he's really supportive too. He runs his own business as well from home, so it's nice to have that understanding with him as well. And it does mean that we're both home together all the time, actually, rather than it feeling so alone.
You're not totally by yourself.
Yeah. And then I do have some really great girls that help out with the courses and provide admin assistance and that sort of thing as well. So I feel really supported having them there as well. Yeah,
that's great. And are they people that did your courses, or are they people outside of that you found in other ways?
A couple of times I have had past students come on board to do work experience or paid work actually, but I'm finding at the moment that I'm really enjoying having someone a little bit older that's got a bit more work experience behind them. Even just for the fact that a lot of the work that I'm asking them to do has to be done on their own at home, and it's really hard to motivate a teen who hasn't really had a job before to do their own work from home. They want to be in a really fun work environment. I know I certainly did back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that totally makes sense.
So it's not really fun for them to work behind the scenes on Shine, but they love coming to help at the courses because they get to relive it all again.
Involved.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And what do you think the benefits have been for you? Like you sort of were on a certain journey and you were doing modelling and things, and you could have got a job for a company or whatever, but you chose quite a challenging path because doing something that's new and you've got to do it by yourself and you've got to get all this business on your own. Obviously you wouldn't do that unless you felt strongly about it. So I guess it's kind of what pushed you to go that way, and then what do you think the ultimate benefits are?
I guess what pushed me to go that way was, as you said, believing that it was important and that I really felt called to do it. It was just coming at me all the time, and there were a couple of times over the last 5 years or so that I've had to go and get, or that I've gone and got a part-time job as well. And I found, and in my mind I was thinking, it'll be so much easier to just get a job and get paid to do it and come home, and that'd be great.
Yeah.
But whenever I've tried that, I find that I end up working on my own projects as well, and so I'm trying to fit in a whole lot more. And it just reminded me that I really do love working this way, and even if I'm working on other projects, I still always come back to doing this as well. So it just reminded me that this is what I really want to be doing.
Yeah, I totally understand you. I've had that same experience. It's kind of like you choose a direction and then you get some work and you think, it kind of life would be easy just to do this, but then you know that you couldn't just do that. It wouldn't be satisfying. So,
and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think a lot of entrepreneurs will talk about, they sort of speak badly about having to have some kind of extra support or going and getting a job for somebody else or supporting somebody else in their dream, as though, the only ultimate option is to be working on your own and make 6 figures and all of these things. But or 7, I think they're saying a lot now. But,
of course, it'll be in the billions soon.
That's right. I just think it can be really valuable to do that as well, even just to get out of your own headspace and be working in someone else's business and get a different perspective. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I think you're right, because you kind of shift your mindset a little bit, and also you're interacting with different people. You're in a different role. Like, for example, I work part-time a little bit, and it's very customer service, so it puts me in quite a different headspace than I am normally.
Yeah,
which is, I'm sure it's really good. It just totally shifts your perspective, and you hear different things from people. You're just dealing with all these people that you might not normally be dealing with.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. I also think it shows a lot of flexibility too. That you're not so rigid, that maybe that's one of the reasons why entrepreneurs succeed. The ones that succeed, I suspect they don't just go, I'm going to do this and I'm going to succeed in 6 months and that's it, because that's kind of not how it works.
Yeah, so true.
It takes a little bit of time and effort and flexibility. Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. And one of the things we did talk about last week was just around financial viability. A lot of people often won't go it alone because they just feel like it's going to be impossible for them to make money, to be able to pay their mortgage and all that sort of thing. So I guess if you could just talk about that a little bit, maybe allay some concerns.
I think that's just fear creeping in, isn't it? And it's hard for me to comment too much about that, I think, because I don't have children that I'm supporting, so I'm very aware of that. But for me, I've just found that I always am supported. Even if I certainly stress about money at times, that's for sure. But then something comes, and it always comes. And so I've never been in a situation where I can't, where I'm out of my home or anything like that. I've always felt supported. I certainly get tested sometimes to find that trust and that faith again, because it can be so up and down. I think that's just an excuse, I think, a lot of the time, to not do something, because and you can make money doing anything. And I think it's funny, actually, as you talk, I was just listening, and it's like it is that faith. It's like, I think if you're doing the right thing, in your heart it's the right thing, and it helps to give you the faith and the confidence to keep going. And I know one of the things, I'm a big Tim Ferriss fan, so I listen to a lot of his podcasts, and he quite often says, what's the worst that can happen? Can you imagine yourself living on the street? Can you imagine yourself having no food? And I'm like, well, no, not really. I can't imagine it getting that bad. Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think that's the thing, you kind of wonder what we're so worried about sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that maybe a big part of it is also having that flexibility. I imagine if you had in your mind that, it has to be this way, and I have to make this much money doing this exact thing, and if you weren't willing to budge a little bit or feel a little bit flexible, then it would be very scary.
Scary, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I think that sort of tension or rigidity can cause a lot of stress and fear. So that also just reminded me of something we talked about a little bit last week. I remember you saying that that you do public speaking, and so obviously you're, I guess you'd call yourself a youth presenter, and you go to youth events and present with other people that are presenting to young people as well. And what impressed me about that part of our conversation was that you said, you know, a lot of the youth presenters are very extrovert and they're very outgoing and, you know, quite loud, and that you'd had people comment to you that they actually were really impressed with your the difference that you showed compared to those people. So do you want to just talk about that a little bit? Because I guess that comes back to the fact that you're quite clear on who you are and what you stand for, and you're not really being influenced so much by other people, which I think some people can quite easily get swayed.
Yeah, and I certainly was very much like that, to be honest. And I've spoken a lot to adults as well, and I remember feeling the same thing. You know, I'd be comparing myself to someone else who is super vibrant and gets really energized from being in front of the crowd and is really funny and all of those things. And I'm not really those things. So I can try to be that, but I run out of energy about 5 minutes into it. So yeah, I'm slowly realizing that it's okay to be quite gentle. And yeah, like I said to you last week, it was nice to get that feedback that people really enjoyed the calm energy that I brought to balance things out. So I just think it's important to remember that, yeah, whatever you have is okay.
Yeah, no, and I think it's I also think is it the word gentleness that you use a lot? Yeah. It's sort of that gentle energy, and it kind of resonated with me because I thought it's actually really quite unique, and it's quite a soft energy, and it almost feels like it's what a lot of people probably need at the moment, but it hasn't been, you know, and it's very authentic. So you're not, you know, clearly not doing it from sort of a marketing perspective. This is who I am. But I just thought, wow, it really resonated because it came through sort of a few times in the conversation, and I thought it's so nice to meet someone, I think, who's quite clear on sort of what they stand for and hasn't been swept up in all the other things that go on and all the other, you know, images and what people feel like they should be these days, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No.
I certainly get swept up in it every now and then.
Yeah, which that's fine. It's just, still, you can get swept up in it, but stay strong to yourself still. Yeah, no, it was really nice. Yeah. So what else? Oh, so another thing that you talked about was... So we talked a little bit about introverts, or I'm just referring to my notes, introverts and extroverts a little bit. And you also do a bit of eco-modelling, don't you? Which I think that also kind of links into your value system, that you are, seem to mention that you are quite picky about who you do modelling for.
Yeah, after going through that whole experience and coming out the other side, I just didn't think I would get back into it at all, to be honest. It felt a bit frivolous to get back into modelling, I suppose you could say. But I didn't really like the way that a lot of the fashion industry do business. And I remember having a moment of putting on a Salvatore Ferragamo fur coat and just realising that it was an animal that I was putting on. And I kept going in that moment, but I've always remembered that. And so I wasn't going to get back into modelling at all, but a couple of eco-friendly labels got in touch and wanted to work with me, and it grew from there. So I'm Australia's first eco-model, and I just work exclusively for eco-friendly, ethical and vegan businesses.
Yeah.
And I write about eco-fashion for Nature and Health magazine as well, and do a couple of other things. I'm on the board of a couple of sustainable fashion groups as well. So I just think it's so important for people to be aware of that side of things too, because, you know, we all have to get dressed in the morning, and I think a lot of people go, I'm not really into fashion, so I don't really care about eco-fashion, but no one goes out of the house naked, so we should be taking an interest in it the way that we take an interest in organic food on our plate and and the ethics and the sustainability around that too.
Yeah, no, it is really important. And I think a lot of people feel like there's so much wrong with the world, I can't make a difference. But actually, if we all think, I always think how you spend your money is how you make a difference. So it is like, it's what clothes you choose to buy, what food you choose to buy. If everyone lived like that, then we would actually be making a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, no, that's great. I think it's fantastic that you are involved in all those projects, and that that's clearly a growing industry.
Yeah. There's a lot more brands out there now, and it comes from, as you said, people voting with their dollar and asking for it, and just asking those questions when they go into a shop. Who made this? What's it made out of?
Yeah. So when you talk about eco-friendly fashion, what does that mean exactly?
That's a good question, because it can mean something, especially when you start to use the word ethical as well. It can mean something different for everyone. For me, I look out for how it was produced. So the sort of fabrics that are being used, and I look for natural fabrics as much as possible and organic, because cotton in particular, the way that it's sprayed conventionally, uses a ridiculous amount of pesticides, and it affects waterways and animals, and even the people that are spraying the cotton get really sick as well. So looking for natural fabrics. Looking for fair trade or something along those lines, because there are still over 2 million child slave labourers in the world. And even in Australia, there can be instances of that as well. So there's Ethical Clothing Australia are a really great symbol to look out for. If they've approved a brand, then it means that people that are making stuff in Australia have at least made sure that they've paid minimum wage.
Right.
Because there's a few instances where immigrants in particular are being exploited, essentially, because they don't speak English, and they're just even here right under our noses.
Yeah, that's quite scary, isn't it? You always imagine it's something that's happening in China, as everyone says, whereas, you don't think that it could be happening in Australia. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then even right down to the way that it's dyed, there's some really great labels like Synergy Fashion that use all natural dyes as well, and vegetable-based dyes. You can find images online of waterways in China that are just bright purple, and that's how some fashion labels will figure out what the trend is going to be for next season. They check out what's happening in the waterways and realise that that's the popular colour.
Wow, that's really scary.
Yeah.
Oh dear, wow, that's amazing.
So there are a few things to look out for.
Yeah, okay, that's really good to know.
And for me also, I make sure everything's vegan. I don't like to wear anything that's exploited an animal. So for me that means no wool, no silk, no leather. That's it, I think.
Okay.
No fur.
Yeah. I think Natalie Portman is that way inclined too, isn't she?
Yeah.
Which I always thought it's impressive. So what do you wear? So footwear-wise, what kind of shoes do you normally wear?
There's a great company in Melbourne actually called Vegan Style Shoes, and they have some really great options. I've got lots of their shoes. Melissa do some really great shoes out of recycled plastic. Which are really fun. And this is where the debate tends to come up too, is people that a lot of people feel that they would much prefer to wear leather than to wear fake leather or PVC, because that's made from petrol, and it's the way that it's produced isn't great either. So it just comes down to what is important to you, and being really careful of only buying what you need, and looking for it secondhand and those sorts of things as well.
I think again a bit of flexibility is needed. You can't be perfect, and I think recycled plastic is better than other things, so you just make a call, like you say, as to what suits you best, really.
But
But I do think part of the problem is a lot of people don't even really, they don't think about it and they don't really know what the options are. So it's great. It's great that you're sharing that kind of knowledge.
Thank you.
So looking back over the last little while up till now, is there anything that you would have done differently, or is there anything that you would have told yourself when you were just starting out now, like sort of looking back and telling your younger self something?
Sort of when I was starting out in business, trying to get myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything. I think I would just say keep going.
Yeah.
Really, just take it one step at a time, because I found over the last few years I've got overwhelmed quite a bit. But it always works out, and you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah,
you'll be okay.
Good advice. And actually, it's quite interesting you say that, because running a business on your own, it is a lot of work, isn't it? And how do you manage now not to get overwhelmed?
I find having those check-ins with my little mastermind group help. And really simple things like sitting down and writing up my 3 MITs, or most important tasks, for that session, because otherwise my to-do list can be 2 pages long, but then I just get really scattered and it's too much and freak out, and then I do something random that's not even on that list because because I'm too freaked out by it.
Your brain's gone.
So I find I have to be pretty disciplined and make sure that I write down just 3 things that I need to get done, and then if I get through them, I'll do another 3, but it helps to just get really clear on what the priorities are. And I really love utilising different apps too. I love ASANA.com. That's a really great app for keeping track of what you need to do and breaking it up into projects, and you can access it on all of your devices. So if you think of something when you're out and about, you can just add it in there.
Is that ASANA, ASANA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
It's a free app.
Yeah.
And then things like Evernote are great for keeping stuff together, and even Google Docs I'm finding really, really helpful just to keep everything in one place. And
I must admit I do use Evernote and Google Docs as well. They're both fantastic. Good. Now I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I think you were going to share a few confidence tips in our chat. Is that all right still? Yeah, and then if you wouldn't mind doing that, and then we might just wrap up with if you've got any tips on top of that for people that are thinking about going it alone and starting out. That would be helpful. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, so I just taught a course this morning actually for some teen girls, and we talked a bit about self-worth and confidence. And some of the things that they said were just be true to yourself, and like you said, just keeping it simple and being okay with who you are is what it comes down to for me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Isn't it funny? It's so straightforward, but it's such good advice.
I find I learn so much from the young girls actually, because they have these moments of such clear wisdom, and it is usually so simple. And I think as adults we really complicate things and feel like we need to read 5 books on confidence instead of just going, you know what, I'm okay. I'm okay the way I am. I'm doing okay. Be gentle with myself. And I'll be all right.
Exactly. No, that's so true. Cool.
Starting out. I would say find a group that you can connect with, because it does make all the difference. And for me, that's meant enrolling in different online courses, to be honest, because with that usually comes some kind of a Facebook group where you can connect, and you're all at a similar stage, so you start to build your business together and can ask each other questions. I find that really useful. But there's also lots of great Facebook groups for women entrepreneurs and for health coaches and for all sorts of different people. And I would really recommend finding some kind of a tribe for yourself that you can connect with, especially if you can find a couple of people in your own area like we have, so that you can have a coffee and just feel like a normal person. Like you're not going crazy.
Someone else to connect with.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. So just before we finish up, so people can find you at, is it shinefromwithin.com.au and then amandarootsey.com.au, and I'll put these down on the notes to do with this. So that on Amanda's site, I know that you can find out how to work with Amanda, information about Shine From Within, eco fashion, simple living, and information about vegan food as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you.